Hi, and welcome back to my channel, where I talk about all things energy for a happier and healthier life. In today's video, I'm going to start a little bit differently, so be prepared to take the next few minutes to think about a question that may just change how you see things in life. So grab a comfortable seat and let's get started. Before we begin, I'd like you to close your eyes and take 3 deep and full breaths, starting with a slow and gentle inhale in through your nose and hold, and now exhale out through your mouth slowly, gently and fully, and hold. Take another deep breath in through your nose, as deep as you can. Hold. And on the exhale, you're going to allow your body to completely relax. And now take a third deep breath in, imagining your entire body being filled with fresh and clean prana. Hold for a moment. And exhale, releasing all of the blockages and used up energies, allowing them to exit out through your hands and feet. Keeping your eyes closed. And now that your mind is calmer and more still, I'd like to ask you to think of someone in your life who you may feel doesn't listen to you. Now, it might not be that they argue with you all of the time, but perhaps you find yourself telling them the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's advice you're giving them to improve something in theirs, or perhaps it's a habit they keep repeating that really bothers you. But no matter how hard you try, the frustration builds up because you're just not getting through to them. And if you need to, you can pause this video for a few moments to give yourself some time to reflect on this person and what it is you're trying to communicate, but just can't seem to. Now that you have someone in mind, notice how this situation makes you feel. It could be emotions of sadness, irritation, frustration, or even anger. Hold on to this image or feeling for just a moment. And when you're ready, I want you to slowly and gently open your eyes. Now here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Is what you want this person to do or not do something that you can improve in yourself? Really think about it for a moment. I know for some of you, the answer might come to you instantly, and you'll realize, wow, maybe this isn't just about them. But for others, including yourself, it might take a little more reflection to truly connect the dots. What you need to find in yourself may not be the exact same thing that you're asking from them. It could be something similar, like a pattern or behavior that mirrors what frustrates you about this person. The connection might be subtle, but it's very powerful once you see it. Life is often like a mirror. The people, situations, events, and even the emotions you experience are all reflections of the energies within you. When you feel someone isn't listening to you, ask yourself, am I listening to myself? Am I being patient and kind with myself? Or maybe when you're frustrated because you feel unheard, the mirror is showing you the areas in your own life where you might not be paying attention to your own needs and desires. If you think about it, the outer world is often reflecting our inner world. Now, imagine you're holding a mirror in your hands. The image you see reflects everything in front of it, including you. If you're frowning or feeling tense, that mirror will show you exactly that. The same thing happens in life. The people we encounter, especially those who evoke strong emotions in us, are often showing us something about ourselves. Maybe they're highlighting the parts of us that we neglect, or they're acting as a mirror for the unhealed wounds and insecurities that we hold. And sometimes the advice you give to others is the very same advice you need to hear yourself. Think about it for a moment. How often do we tell others to be more patient, more compassionate, or to let go of their fears? And yet, how often do we apply that same wisdom to our own lives? If you're constantly offering advice to someone about how they should be more focused or take better care of themselves, ask yourself this: am I following the same advice? Am I doing the very thing that I'm suggesting to them? I'll give you an example. There was a time when I found myself constantly telling a friend to slow down, to stop rushing through life, and to take a break. Every time we talked, I'd give them that same advice. But then one day I realized I wasn't even taking my own advice. I was rushing through my own day, overcommitting to tasks and feeling burnt out. Then it hit me like a light bulb moment. I wasn't frustrated with my friend. I was frustrated because I wasn't giving myself the space I so desperately needed. Life was showing me a mirror through my interactions with that friend. And here's another example of something that happened a little bit more recently. Just the other day, I was telling my kids to use their initiative and to do something productive that they enjoy. I was annoyed because I feel that they waste a lot of time when there's so many things out there that are good for them, that are both enjoyable and productive. And as I thought to myself, why do I always need to tell them the same thing over and over again? It just didn't quite make sense. But then it dawned on me, and it was obvious that this message was as much for me as it was for them. As I was encouraging them to start a project or a hobby, it made sense to me that I needed to do the same thing. But for me, it was more of using my idle time to focus on what I need to work on, and that's fitness. For years, I took martial arts as my main form of fitness and exercise. But after moving house and not being able to find a suitable new dojo, let's just say my fitness regime took a backseat. Don't get me wrong, my life is great. I have a wonderful balance with work and home life, wonderful and fulfilling relationships, and the ability to travel often and to beautiful destinations. But we all have at least one area in our lives where we can improve. And at this moment, mine is to build more regular physical activity into my life. So the key message here is that sometimes you just need to listen to your own advice. But sometimes this advice is hidden in the form of what you're preaching to others. So next time, take a step back and see if what you're saying to others can be a message that you also need to hear yourself. Your energy plays a critical role in how you perceive the world around you. The thoughts and emotions you carry act like a lens, filtering how you see others, how you interpret their actions, and how you respond. When your energy is low or negative, you may view situations with more judgment, frustration, or doubt, which can lead to misunderstandings and create distance in your relationships. This is why it's so important to become aware of the energy you're bringing into any interaction. Your emotional state doesn't just impact your mood, it shapes your reality. The energy you carry influences your thoughts, the stories you tell yourself, and ultimately, the way you experience life. For example, let's say you're feeling neglected in a relationship. You believe that your partner doesn't care about you. But before jumping to conclusions, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what's the energy I'm carrying here? When you're feeling hurt, frustrated, or upset, it's easy to see everything through that emotional lens. Your partner's actions may feel like they're rejecting you or pulling away. But is it possible that your own thoughts and emotions are amplifying that feeling? Are you giving off energy that says, I don't feel worthy, or I'm not being heard, and then projecting that onto the other person? Now, going a little deeper, imagine you're in that relationship and you feel like your partner is neglecting you. They don't check in with you as much. They don't seem as attentive, and it's starting to hurt. Naturally, you feel like they just don't care. But here's the question. Could this be a reflection of how you've been acting, even subconsciously? Maybe in response to their lack of attention, you've also started to pull back, to protect yourself. You've stopped being as open or affectionate. With energy, it doesn't really matter who started it. What matters is how you respond. When we talk about energy, we're not just talking about action. We're talking about intention, vibration, and how you interact with the world around you. If you feel neglected and pull back emotionally, you're sending out that energy of neglect as well. Of course, it's important to say that in certain cases, you're not meant to mirror everything. If someone is mistreating you, disrespecting you, or not honoring your worth, that doesn't mean you respond with that same energy. In fact, sometimes the mirror isn't just showing us a reflection. It's showing us a life lesson, and the universe is trying to teach us something deeper. In situations where you're being treated unfairly, the lesson could be that it's time to stand up for yourself. You deserve to be treated with respect. If you don't address this lesson right away, the problem tends to grow. The more you avoid standing up for yourself, the more intense the situation becomes until you have no choice but to deal with it. When I was younger, I had relationships that always seemed to result in me being treated unfairly. Although things always started off well, I found that the same patterns would eventually emerge. I was often talked down to, disrespected, and treated as if my feelings or even that I didn't matter. For the longest time, I blamed everyone else, and I wondered why I was attracting the same types of people into my life. It wasn't until I went a lot deeper into things that I realized it was my own energy that was creating all of this. It was the way I saw myself, both consciously and subconsciously, that resulted in the relationships that I attracted. I had poor self-esteem. I didn't think I was good enough, smart enough, or pretty enough. And this reflected in my partners treating me the same way, as if to confirm my deepest and darkest thoughts and emotions. And it's what's deep inside that really counts. I say this because there are some people who don't realize how they really are, and many people put on a mask to portray who they want to be. But sooner or later, the energies within you will catch up with your true reality. So it's important to dig deep and be honest with who you really are. Your thoughts and your emotions are like the earth and mud beneath the water. When you're filled with negativity, anger, or fear, the mud gets stirred up. The water becomes cloudy, and it's impossible to see your reflection clearly. The same thing happens in your life. When your vibrations are low and you're stuck in a cycle of negative emotions, your perception of the world and yourself becomes distorted. You can't see things as they truly are because the mud or your internal chaos is clouding everything. To see the clear reflection of yourself and your life, you need to step back and clear your mind. Take a break from the emotional chaos. When you allow the mud to settle, the water becomes clear again and you can see your reflection. Only then can you see what's really there, instead of what your emotions are making you believe. It's not always easy to do this, but it's essential. Whether it's through meditation, taking time for self-care, or simply stepping away from the situation, clearing your mind will help you understand what's really going on in your life. I know this all sounds a little bit doom and gloom, but these energies, or this mirror, is there to help each and every single one of us. So you need to ask yourself the important questions and recognize the repeating patterns in your life in order to understand what is being reflected from within you. When you begin to see life in its true form, as a reflection of our inner state, everything starts to shift. The frustrations we feel towards others can guide us back to the places in ourselves that need attention, healing, and growth. And remember, the mirror of life isn't here to punish us or make things difficult. It's here to help us become more self-aware, to help us grow. When we embrace this, we stop seeing challenges as problems and start seeing them as opportunities for transformation. So the next time you find yourself frustrated, neglected, or overwhelmed, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what energy am I carrying into this situation? Is life reflecting back to me something I need to see? And if I'm being shown a lesson, how can I learn from it? Remember, life is always trying to teach us, either through the mirror of reflection or the deeper lessons we need to grow. Your thoughts, your energy, and your emotions shape your reality. Clear your mind and you'll see things for what they truly are. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has given you a new perspective on how life works as a mirror, how energy affects our perception, and how important it is to learn the lessons life is trying to teach us. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more insights on living a happier and more balanced life. Until next time, stay mindful, stay present, and remember, the reflection you see in life is the key to understanding your true self.